Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare How'd you hear of us?
Google.
Google. Oh, okay.
But I mean, I've heard about you guys. I haven't lived here for over 30 years, so.
You've lived here for over 30 years?
I haven't lived here for over 30 years.
Oh, okay.
Right, I'm from here. I went away.
Oh, okay.
And I was doing kirtan mainly like in yoga studios.
Oh.
In Bali, Indonesia, Los Angeles as well. A little bit in Thailand.
Right.
Yeah, this is different than.
You ever go down to the Kansas City Plaza? We're there almost every single day.
So that's why I heard of you, was like I have friends that go to that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hare Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Vishnu Paramahansa Purivrata Acharya Ashtota Vishnu Shri Srimad Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Ranjaguru Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Navadvip Dham ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Tulasi Devi ki Jai. Yamuna Mai ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Gauranga. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. So, welcome everybody. Hare Krishna. So this is a little bit of a small group today. So, welcome. We'll be discussion. And yes, thank you. So we'll begin with some prayers and then we'll start the discussion. Today I had the association of Along Prabhu, and he inspired me to speak about some topics in particular. So we'll begin with the introduction prayers. Okay, and everybody's encouraged to chant along. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Yati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanitam Sajivam Savaitam Savadutam Vijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sadhana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Govesha Govikanta Radhakanta Namosute Bhaktakanchana Ramani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I made the little slides here. The slide. So this is Krishna and Arjuna. So they're the inspirations for today. Like I said, I met Lankar earlier today, and he spoke to me about some specific topics that I thought I would bring up. Lankar Prabhu is kind of an on-the-pulse type of devotee. He kind of knows what's going on in the world. He can, sense things in one sense. And he was telling me that things are getting a little bit hairy in the material world. There's a lot of uncertainties, right? And many of us are affected in different ways by these different uncertainties in government or in economics or in so many different aspects of life. And there's a tendency for fear to surface in the heart and in the mind. And Krishna and Arjuna are actually facing Arjuna's fears head-on together as a team. And so we are also like Arjuna. We have a duty to perform, and we have fear arising in our heart and mind, and our duty is being affected. And Krishna and Arjuna work as a team to conquer this fear, and similarly, we also can get the same benefit from Lord Krishna and their instructions. So, if you have any knockout roses, now is a good time to prune them. So, this is also Arjuna and Krishna. So you can see Arjuna is, this was a long time before this became famous. This face palm thing. This is a painting from 1960s or 1970s, and this appeared in some of our books. So you can see Krishna is not afraid. Only Arjuna is afraid. But they're on the same chariot, so they're a team. And this is the same thing for us. So Krishna, God is with us, and we're afraid, but He's not afraid. So this is the concept that we're going to explore tonight, becoming fearless, becoming a spiritual warrior, and preparing ourselves with knowledge and yoga so that we can stand and fight. So this is a clip here. Let's see if I can. So this is an interesting verse here, and we'll take a look at this. Is it showing up?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, and text 16. Okay. This is from a chapter called Transcendental Knowledge. So we'll do call and response. Please repeat after me. Kim karma karmeti.
Kim karma karmeti.
Kavayo yatra mohita.
Kavayo yatra mohita.
Tate karma pravakshyami.
Tate karma pravakshami.
Yajyatva mokshase shubhat.
Yajyatva mokshase subhat.
Kim karma karmeti.
Kim karma karmeti.
Kavayo yatra mohita.
Kavayo yatra mohita.
Tate karma pravakshyami.
Tate karma pravakshami.
Yajyatva mokshase shubhat.
Yajyatva mokshase subhat.
Kim karma karmeti.
Kim karma karmeti.
Kavayo yatra mohita.
Kavayo yatra mohita.
Tate karma pravakshyami.
Tate karma pravakshami.
Yajyatva mokshase shubhat.
Yajyatva mokshase subhat.
Would anyone like to chant?
Kim karma kim akarmeti.
Kim karma kim karmeti.
Kavayo pyatra mohitaha.
Kavayo pyatra mohitaha.
Tate karma pravakshami.
Tate karma pravakshami.
Yajjatva mokshase subhat.
Yajjatva mokshase subhat.
Kim karma kim akarmeti. Kavayo pyatra mohitaha. Tate karma pravakshami. Yajjatva mokshase subhat.
Okay. So we'll do call and response again. Kim, what is?
What is?
Karma,
Karma,
action.
action.
Kim, what is?
What is?
Akarma,
Karma,
inaction.
action.
Iti,
Thus.
thus. Kavayaha,
Kavayaha,
the intelligent.
intelligent.
Abhi, also.
Also.
Atra,
Adra,
in this matter.
in this matter.
Mohitaha,
Mohitaha,
bewildered.
bewildered.
Tat,
Tat,
that. Te, unto you.
unto you.
Karma,
Karma,
word.
work.
Pravakshami,
Pravakshami,
I shall
I shall
explain.
explain.
Yet,
Yet,
which.
which,
Yatva,
Yatva,
knowing.
knowing.
Mokshase,
Mokshase,
be liberated.
be liberated.
Ashubhat,
Ashubhat,
from ill fortune.
from ill fortune.
So this is the synonyms, and this is the translation. So actually, I'm going to increase this size. See if this helps. Visibility. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all sins. Purport. So this is given by our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accord with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the text to follow. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in a line of disciplic succession, as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the Sun God. The Sun God explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Vishvaku. And the system is current on this earth in that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent men will be bewildered regarding the standard action of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord Himself. Dharmam hi sakshat bhagavad pranitam. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, Kumara, Kapila, Prahlad, Bhishma, Shukadeva Goswami, Yamaraj, Janaka, etc. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence. So, every moment we're faced with choices. Right? And these choices of what to do, how to act, are oftentimes paralyzing. At least that's how I feel a lot of the times. And when the world is getting more and more complicated with socio-political upheavals and issues with immigration and economy and so many things like this, then it just gets more complicated what to do with our time. We know we have limited time. Right? Everybody feels that way. Everybody feels anxious. And why do we feel anxious? We feel anxious because we think we're this body. And on that point, I have another source here. Hopefully I can retrieve it accurately. I pulled some different resources, but some of them are videos, and they show up differently on the phone. So that's it. This is the one. Okay, this is cool. Hopefully it doesn't do anything weird like playing that.
That makes me so much glad of this body. But the ultimate end of this body is either stool or body. So foolish persons who are in the bodily concept of life, they are thinking, after all this body will finish. So long the body is there, senses are there, let us enjoy. Why so much restriction? No easy sense, no gambling, no. These are all nonsense. Let us enjoy life. This is atheistic life. Foolish life. They do not know. No. The body is not all. This is the first lesson to understand what is spiritual life, what is spiritual knowledge. With all aspects of the world. Therefore Krishna has about slap. Asachyana Sudastam Prajnavada. You do not know what is it. Fact. When talking like that, just try to understand what is true. Not to leave off of First thing is that Nasa. We have no Nasa. We never die. That will be expected of no fear. We do not die. Nasa. At any time. Not that. Sometimes you die and sometimes no. Any time. Just. At any time.
So this is the concept there. Arjuna is actually on the battlefield, and you'll see him again just to refresh the mood. He has to fight an amazingly he has to make an amazingly stressful decision because he's on the verge of the battlefield. You can see here, actually, the warriors are poised for battle. And he finds himself that actually his own family is on the other side. And this is the type of thing that people are worried about will happen. That somehow or other there'll be such a situation on this planet that we're fighting against man, and man against animal, and on like this. But Arjuna is thinking that he has to slay his friends and his relatives. Right? But Krishna tells him, actually, you're speaking like a learned man, and actually you're a fool. because the soul never dies. And this is actually the first step of spiritual knowledge. And this is actually the beginning. If we hope to become glorious spiritual warriors like Arjuna, to completely destroy all the fearfulness within our hearts, then we have to take this first lesson just as Arjuna understood it from Krishna, that actually the soul is eternal. Never was there a time when we, along with God, we never existed. There was never a time when we never existed. We've always existed. And this is very fundamental. And Prabhupada said that persons, they do not know this. The general mass of people do not know this. Therefore, everybody is actually afraid. And this is the situation that we find ourselves in right now in this material world. Right? Because if we understand that we're eternal, and we can understand whatever is happening on this little, for this little short life, right? That's not such a big deal. It's not my everything. I've had a lot happen before. There's going to be a lot more to come because I'm eternal. So then what happens is when persons are actually in a fearful consciousness, then they start becoming greedy. And actually greed is the source of disturbance for others as well as oneself. Because greed is a lust which is not satisfied. We want more, and we want more, and we want more, and we want more. Right? And Krishna actually speaks about this, that if you take lust and you try to satisfy it, then it's like pouring clarified butter, which is a very great fuel for fire, pouring it on a fire. It's not going to put out the fire, it's just going to get hotter. So this is the situation, and actually right now the world is not being led by great sages and saints. The world is being led by persons who think that they're the body and are acting under the influence of greed and lust and anger. And this brings us to our next verse. This one is also in chapter 4. Okay. So we can sing this in call and response. Vitaraga bhaya krodha,
Vitaraga bhaya krodha,
manmaya mamupashrita,
manmaya mamupashritaha,
bahavo jnana tapasa,
bahavo jnana tapasa,
bhuta madbhavam agata,
bhuta madbhavam agataha,
Vitaraga bhaya krodha,
Vitaraga bhaya krodha,
manmaya mamupashrita,
manmaya mamupashritaha,
bahavo jnana tapasa,
ahavo jnana tapasa,
bhuta madbhavam agata,
bhuta madbhavam agataha,
Vitaraga bhaya krodha,
Vitaraga bhaya krodha,
manmaya mamupashrita,
manmaya mamupashritaha,
bahavo jnana tapasa,
ahavo jnana tapasa,
bhuta madbhavam agata.
bhuta madbhavam agataha.
Anybody?
Vitaraga Bayakroda,
Vitaraga bhaya krodha,
Manmaya Mam Ashrita,
manmaya mamupashritaha,
Maharogyana Tapasa,
ahavo jnana tapasa,
Uttamat Bhavamagata,
bhuta madbhavam agataha. Manmaya mamupashritah Bahavo jnana tapasa Bhuta madbhavam agataha Vitaraga vaya krodha Manmaya mamupashritah Ahavo jnana tapasa Buddha madbhavam agataha Vita
freed from raga, attachment, maya, fear, krodha, and anger, matmaya, fully in me, mam, in me, upashita, being fully situated, bahavaha, many, jnana, of knowledge, tapasa, by the penance, bhutaha, being purified, madbhavam, transcendental love for me, agataha, attained. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me. Many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. This is being spoken by Lord Krishna. Purport. As described above, it is very difficult for a person who is too materially affected to understand the personal nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Generally, people who are attached to the bodily conception of life are so absorbed in materialism that it is almost impossible for them to understand how the Supreme can be a person. Such materialists cannot even imagine that there is a transcendental body which is imperishable, full of knowledge, and eternally blissful. In the materialistic concept, the body is perishable, full of ignorance and completely miserable. Therefore, people in general keep this same bodily idea in mind when they are informed of the personal form of the Lord. For such materialistic men, the form of the gigantic material manifestation is the Supreme. Consequently, they consider the Supreme to be impersonal. And because they are too materially absorbed, the conception of retaining the personality after liberation from matter frightens them. When they are informed that spiritual life is also individual and personal, they become afraid of becoming persons again. And so they naturally prefer a kind of merging into the impersonal void. Generally, they compare the living entities to the bubbles of the ocean, which merge into the ocean. That is the highest perfection of spiritual existence attainable without individual personality. This is a kind of fearful stage of life, devoid of perfect knowledge of spiritual existence. Furthermore, there are many persons who cannot understand spiritual existence at all. Being embarrassed by so many theories and by contradictions of various types of philosophical speculation, they become disgusted or angry and foolishly conclude that there is no supreme cause and that everything is ultimately void. Such people are in a diseased condition of life. Some people are too materially attached and therefore do not give attention to spiritual life. Some of them want to merge into the supreme spiritual cause, and some of them disbelieve in everything, being angry at all sorts of spiritual speculation out of hopelessness. This last class of men take to the shelter of some kind of intoxication, and their affective hallucinations are sometimes accepted as spiritual vision. One has to get rid of all three stages of material consciousness: attachment to material life, fear of a spiritual personal identity, and the conception of void that arises from frustration in life. To get free from these three stages of the material concept of life, one has to take complete shelter of the Lord, guided by the bona fide spiritual master, and follow the disciplines and regulative principles of devotional life. The last stage of the devotional life is called bhava, or transcendental love of Godhead. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the science of devotional service, Adao Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangho Tha Bhajana Kriya Tato Narta Nivriti Syat Tato Nishta Ruchis Tata Atha Saktis Tato Bhavas Tata Prema Vyudan Chati Sada Khanam Ayam Penna Radu Bhave Bhavet Kama. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master, and under his instruction, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. By execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachment, attains steadiness in self-realization, and acquires a taste for hearing about the absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This taste leads one further forward to attachment for Krishna consciousness, which is matured in bhava, or the preliminary stage of transcendental love of God. Real love for God is called prema, the highest perfectional stage of life. In the prema stage, there is constant engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, by the slow process of devotional service, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, one can attain the highest stage, being freed from all material attachment, from the fearfulness of one's individual spiritual personality, and from the frustrations that result in void philosophy. Then one can ultimately attain to the abode of the Supreme Lord. So, when one is too materially attached, too much into the bodily concept of life, then there must be fear. Right? There, at the beginning stage, right, when one is too attached to material way of life, this is also discussed in Bhagavad Gita elsewhere, Krishna describes that such a person cannot take to the path of self-realization. And they can't even begin to understand that God is a person, right, with whom we have a very intimate relationship from time immemorial. You know, I have some people that have been in my life for a long time, like my mom, my dad. That's about as long as it gets, right? And some friends that I know from early on, and you know, basically my whole life I've been in consciousness of them. But it's just been 20, something years now, 32 years. And I can't conceive of life without these people. There was never a time that I can remember where they didn't exist. And Krishna's saying, that's actually what it's like with me. We existed eternally, actually all of us, also with Krishna, and we have a relationship with Him. Just like we have varying degrees of relationship with our associates in this material world. But I can't remember anything about Krishna. I can't remember anything that I used to do with Krishna. I can remember things that I used to do with my grandpa. I can remember things I used to do with my grandma. I remember things I used to do with my friend Josh. You know, I can't remember anything about Krishna. So if we're too materially attached, right, then the idea is we won't have the desire for spiritual advancement at all. We won't even come that, hey, I should figure out who I am. I should figure out about God, about the source of creation. And I should do something about this. I should actually spend my time for this aim, not just for this body's pleasure. And this is actually what's happening in the world right now. Is everybody is thinking that they're the body. Why? Because they have no spiritual knowledge. Because they don't have Bhagavad Gita. And even if they have Bhagavad Gita, they don't have Bhagavad Gita as it is. They don't have Bhagavad Gita from somebody who has actually understood that they are eternal. And not just that, somebody who has actually understood that they're not eternal, but they're actually an individual. That's the second stage. Vita, Bhaya, Vita Raga, right? Vita Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Raga means attachment. This means too much materially attached, too materialistic. You think we're the body? But for everything is actually for the pleasure of this body. Because I don't understand myself as eternal. And then, Bhaya, fear. What is this fear? The fear stage is, even if I know that I'm not the body, I'm actually afraid of being a person. I'm afraid of actually being a person eternally, because all my experience with personhood has actually been disappointing. Because I always get let down. You know? Nobody can actually love me the way that I want to be loved. That's an interesting, realization. Nobody can actually love me the way that I want to be loved. And this is actually amazing. Actually, it's a very beautiful realization. And we stop looking for perfect love in each other, and we start looking for perfect love in God, who's the only person who can actually give it to us. And then we're actually happy with each other, because I'm not overly expecting something from somebody who doesn't have the capacity to satisfy my needs. Because I actually have the need for unlimited quantities of affection and attention and love and care and reciprocation. But the only person who has capacity for that is Krishna, is God. So when I figure out I'm not this body, then there's a different stage of people who they say, yes, it's all one, it's all energy. It's all Brahman. Right? And such persons actually are afraid of being people because they've been let down so many times. And then anger. Then somebody becomes so frustrated, right? With all these people saying this about God and that about God, and come to my church and come to my temple and chant this one and chant that one and pray this one and read this one and make sure to give me your money too. Right? And you just become frustrated and say, well, I don't care about you people anymore. And just say, I don't think there is a God. And you know what? That's fine to me. So this is the idea behind anger. So who can actually become purified of these things? It was discussed by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, saying if we take to this process, and it's slow, it is slow, but it works. And what it's going to do is it's going to systematically and scientifically alleviate us from the bodily conception of life, that I am this temporary body, I am from a particular family, right, on this earth planet, and we will actually realize I am actually an eternal servant of Krishna. I am from the spiritual world. You can almost hear him playing the flute. That's what happens. That's what we just read. You know, gradually, we'll wake up to it again. We'll be with Him again. And Jagannath Prabhu has been reflecting that the time scale in this material world is relative. So on this earth planet, we experience time in a certain way. And the denizens of the heavens, like the angels and the super powerful human beings, there are superhuman type of beings. And they can fly around the universe and do amazing things. They have different bodily features, long lives. And they experience time in a different way. And for us, what seems like a long time is practically nothing for them. For the topmost heavenly being, you could say, which is Lord Brahma, for him, basically one moment is like an entire year on the earth plane. One moment of his perception is like a whole year on this planet Earth for us. And the spiritual world, even more rapid. Right? So we have had a life eternally in association with Krishna, right? And now it feels like forever since I can remember Krishna or have any association with him, right? But it's actually just been like nothing. So this is kind of what happens, is that if we take to the slow process now, then all of a sudden we'll get to that point when we break that spiritual veil, and it'll feel like that. Oh, it was just a moment ago that I would, and all of this will become like a bad dream, actually. So, let's see. Okay, we're getting to the time. Oh, yes.
Why did he forget in the first place?
Yeah, this is actually a very delicate conversation. Right? Ultimately, I'll reference some discussions or a perspective that is in Bengali. There's a verse which describes it: when we turn our face from Krishna, then we are slapped down by Maya, or by illusion. So that's the idea, is that at some point, right, we became envious of Krishna. And the word envy means we turn our face from that person because we don't want to acknowledge or appreciate. Because actually we have a desire to be acknowledged or appreciated like they are, or like they should be. And so the idea is that Krishna is the supremely appreciable person. Like we spoke about, nobody can love like Krishna can love. And because every one of us is a part and parcel of Krishna, actually all we really care about is love. That's really all we actually care about, is whoever loves us, or whatever and that's the problem, is that we say, I love this phone, but we don't love the phone. The phone doesn't love us either, But we have a need for love, and I'm actually reposing that within matter. Therefore, I'm always disappointed. And that's what we do to each other, is that I'm actually looking to you with the eyes that I shall look to Krishna with, but actually I just see your body, and if your body doesn't satisfy my need for love, then now I'm actually frustrated, right? So the idea is that envy is the competitor to love. we turned, at some point, we had this feeling, which is our natural free will, to be envious rather than appreciative. And actually, this is basically what we can do, is we can decide to be appreciative of Krishna, of God. And that's pretty much the basis of spiritual life, is if we just decide to appreciate Krishna under any and all circumstances, then we will naturally progress in love for Him. So, yeah, that's my answer. So, yes.
I like what you were saying about, I like the example you gave about why people get angry with different philosophies. And it kind of made me question about, how we are different, or any different from the others who do this. Because we do the same thing. We tell them, you chant this mantra, you take this book, you give us money, you come to the temple, you do all these things. So what is the difference between us, the Christians, the Buddhists, the impersonalists, and any other philosophy in this world?
We don't really exactly say like that, do we? We're usually nice to people. You say, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to learn about Krishna, about God, about yoga. If you want, you can help give from the heart. And actually, as much as we're actually detached from manipulating them on a material platform, then we can actually be interested in elevating them on the spiritual platform. They're actually not, they're like this. If I actually want to manipulate you on the material platform, selfishly, for my pleasure, for my ego trip, my control trip, right, which we have, unfortunately, then I can actually be that less interested to uplift that person spiritually. So this is actually the idea, is that the devotees, they can ask for a donation, just like everyone else can. Actually, everybody out here is asking for your money. Some are in the guise of religionists, and some are just capitalists. Some are advertisers, right? But everybody's looking for your time, your energy, your attention, and your pocketbook too, right? But here's the thing, and this is why some people, they say, you guys are just like everybody else. Actually, you're worse, because you're more tenacious, right? They can criticize the devotees because they're very enthusiastic to say, no, I'm pretty sure you do want this book. It's going to help you. It's really going to help you. I think you do want it. You know? Of course, we always respect everybody's free will. That's important. But the idea is that some people may criticize because they have material vision only. But actually, as much as we as a society are free from envy, then we can actually uplift the world. And that's the purpose of this institution, is to become completely free from envy, every single one of us. And we want to extend this family to the entire planet. We want to extend this family to the entire universe. But the only way to become free from envy is to become completely obsessed with Krishna's pleasure, completely obsessed with God's satisfaction. And completely obsessed with helping other people bring satisfaction to Krishna. To reconnect with them. So, it may look like we're doing the same things. We have a temple, we have a church, we do some rituals, we have some holy books, right? We have some prayers, we get some money, we pay the bills like everyone else, right? But as much as we actually are interested and dedicated to developing love for Krishna, pure love for Krishna, to that extent, all of these activities are actually spiritualizing the entire world. And anybody who connects with these activities is getting uplifted and benefited. So, yes.
It reminds me of when Srila Prabhupada, in relation to sharing Krishna consciousness with others, how he says that purity is the force. So I was thinking about how, like my guru, he says it's all about our intention. You know, whatever we do, if our intention, like he said, is to please Krishna, then the result will just be to his favor, to his will. I also had one reflection, if that's okay, on the purport.
Yes, can everyone hear her?
Yeah.
At the back? No? Can we get you a mic? You have to hold it up.
Hare Krishna. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was talking about how to begin the process of devotional service and reaching transcendental love for Krishna, he started to say that we can accept a bona fide representative or spiritual master. And in my mind, I was envisioning, myself swimming, just here and there, trying to find shelter, trying to find solutions, some place to get relief from, swimming against the current. And then I imagine like a boat, and like these words are there, words of Krishna and Guru are there. And I imagine them, putting their hands out and saying, "Here, I'll help you." And then myself projecting it, saying, "No, I can do it myself. I want to go here. I want to see that island, and maybe there's relief there, or but the easiest way would be, obviously, to get on the boat." So that is something that came to my mind today. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, actually, Krishna himself, he uses this analogy. He says there's nothing like transcendental knowledge, and it actually is like a boat. So this knowledge is actually the way out, and Prabhupada, as you gave the example, he would give a comical extension. He would say there's a dog. The dog is a good swimmer. He can swim a little bit, but he won't be able to swim across the ocean. No matter how good a swimmer he is, he's going to be having trouble with that one. So this material world, and we're in a very sticky situation because we think we're the body, but we're actually eternal, and we're having so many issues for that reason. And then after that, we're afraid of being persons. We want to actually merge with God. We forget our individuality. And then there's so many ideas about God, we become completely frustrated. So we have a big ocean to cross. And the spiritual master shares the words of Krishna with us and brings us into the boat. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody. So we're gonna see the beauties for the last few moments here. And real quick, just before we move on, I wanted to do a little bit more kirtan. Shishi Ganta ki Jai. So this is a song. I'm going to put it up here, and then we'll chant the Krishna after this. Okay. So this is the what do you call it? The refrain. Radha Krishna bolo bolo Rishabhai.
Radha Krishna bolo
Jato Beshi, Tato Hadu Bai.
Maya Koshi,
Radha Krishna Bol 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 Vishnu Bai.
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 Shri Krishna Das and Vishwas Koi Ko Adu Ko Nagi.
Krishna Das, Vishwas, Guru Dev Arju Konai.
Krishna Bol Jale Guru Bhave Dode Agi Gori Nai.
Krishna Bol
here. So now we'll have Krishna Prasadam. So there'll be a wonderful feast served at the back. If anybody would like to sponsor this feast, please let me know. And you're always welcome to come back. Hare Krishna.